Hey guys, thanks for watching. And it's raining outside, so I'm doing this in the car in the garage. So guys, today I want to share a very special story with you that's got some beautiful significance, and I hope it will bless you. My husband and I, we have been reading a book called Born to Win from Zig Ziglar. Now, Zig Ziglar is one of the most famous life coaches that there has been. And just before his death, he wrote this book, Born to Win. It's an excellent book if you can get hold of the book. In the book, he tells the story of a guy, a young boy by the name of Ben Hooper, that grew up somewhere in Tennessee. And he ended up being a very influential senator, this Ben Hooper. But Ben Hooper's got a beautiful story, and I want to really, that is what I want to share with you today. So Ben Hooper grew up without, he was a illegitimate child, so he was born out of wedlock. He never knew his father. He grew up with his mother, and he was really from birth, he was really ostracized by the society, by the community that he lived in. So they didn't want anything to do with him. So Ben Hooper grew up with no father, fatherless, somewhat poor, and he had, obviously he didn't have an identity because he knew that he didn't have a father, and he was born out of wedlock. And also the way that society treated him emphasized to him that fact. So one day Ben Hooper tells the story of how he went to church, and a preacher was preaching, and this preacher must have known the heart of the Father, the heart of God, and God's character. So this preacher walked up to Ben Hooper, and he touched him on the shoulder, and he asked him, "Whose boy are you?" And obviously Ben Hooper says that a silence befell the whole church, because you can imagine everybody knew about his background. So, and Ben Hooper also, he looked up at the preacher, and he was quite afraid, I understand, of this man. And then the preacher asked him, "Whose boy are you?" And then the preacher did something amazing, and this is the story that I want to get to. The preacher looked at him and he said, "Oh, I know whose boy you are. You are a son of God. You are a child of God. The resemblance is unmistakable." And then he said something like, "Now go out and live up to your inheritance," or something like that. And guys, this Ben Hooper walked into that church that day with no identity, and he walked out of that church knowing that he was a child of God. And isn't that a beautiful story? And later in life, he often testified of how this one incident changed his life forever. He was this orphan boy that was looking for a father, and he met in that day in church. He realized, but he had a wonderful Father in heaven that loved him so much. And he was a child of God. So Ben Hooper walked into that church building without any identity, but he walked out of that church building with an identity, a wonderful identity. And guys, so I really want to just remind you of that today. You, my precious friend, are loved by a wonderful Father. And if you never had a father in your life, maybe you're an orphan, maybe your father was absent. I grew up with an abusive father. Know this, that God wants to be your Father. He is a loving Father that just wants to love you. God's got no other agenda except he wants to love you, and he wants to lavish his love on you. So I want to remind you of this today. You have a wonderful identity. God is your Father. The resemblance is unmistakable. Now go out and live out your inheritance. God bless.